Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffery Combs.
Jeffery Combs, welcome to Tuesday Facebook Live. It's my privilege and pleasure to be here with you on a beautiful, warm, and I do mean warm, October day in Central California. It's a breathe and release and let go day, and the topic for today's Facebook Live is the law of the few. And if you're on here today, it is my privilege and pleasure to be here with you as we are breathing, releasing, and letting go. When you are no longer the mind-body connection to the events that shape the feelings, there's a separation between the feelings and the events that shape them. And to really step into your power and be one of those few people who can let go of anxiety, fear, and doubt is a huge asset. And on a daily basis, you're going to be tested in today's world as you're seeing what's going on in today's world. It's a very challenging time in world history. It's a challenging time all around the world. And it's a time that really requires you to be your best self. And so letting go is a really a key asset today so that you won't be most of the population that's in anxiety, fear, and doubt. You'll be someone who can be a leader for people. You can be a mentor for people. You can be a person of influence in your community. And you can really step into your power as you let go of your anxiety, fear, and doubt. The law of the few breaks down into the 80-20 rule. And in that 80-20 rule, you start to step up into higher consciousness in it as you're breathing, releasing, and letting go. And you're no longer the mind-body connection to the events that shape the feelings. I mean, you're really digging deep and you're accessing your higher power. And that power is a non-physical power, and you're able to see a situation for what it is. You're able to easily and effortlessly let go, and you're in the separation of the feelings and the events that shape them. And that allows you to be a leader, be a mentor, especially in challenging times. I mean, you're going to be called on to be a man or a woman of influence right now, whether it's in your own apartment, your own home, your community. I mean, there's a lot going on in the world. People are volunteering. People are really stepping up. People are next leveling situations in life. And you can be one of those few people. And that means that you practice this word discipline, that you become a disciple of. And you're a disciple of your own success. You're a disciple of the Lord. You're a disciple of God. You're a disciple of your communication, and you begin to really improve, and you start to see that improvement in yourself, and you're not judging people, you're not criticizing people, you're letting go while you're stepping into that power. And that power becomes a source for you that you can teach to other people. In that power, you're not in force anymore, you're in your power, and you're in a flow state. You're flowing with life. You're not in the resistance of it. And you're not in your head, you're not overwhelmed. You're not telling yourself stories. You're in a breathe, release, and let go state in a very relaxed body. And as you step into that power, you become the law of the few. It's also called an outlier. And once again, this doesn't come from ego or pride. This comes from humility. And you're able to really be that leader, and you can, in a 12-step program, you can sponsor someone, or in sales and marketing, you can teach the sales skills to others. And you can be a mentor to people. You can be a little league coach. You become the few who really have that inner game that people seek. It's a level of charisma that people feel and they want to be a part of. And when they want to be a part of it, they want to really feel that feeling, this is when you can really step up. You're not in your anxiety, fear, and doubt. You're not overwhelmed. You're not doubting yourself. You're in your power. And that place is called certainty. So if you're in truth and trust, and you're in certainty, you're in your power. And that level of power, you're separating yourself from being overwhelmed. You're separating yourself from your gut issues. You're separating yourself from the feelings you hold on to. You're able to very, very easily and effortlessly separate yourself from all the noise going on in the world, and you can focus on what's important to your business, to yourself, to people in your circle of influence, and you can develop a level of priorities that is highly empowering rather than staying in an overwhelmed, disempowered state. So there is a book called The 80-20 Principle written by Koch, and the book was written many, many years ago. I've owned the book for well over 20 plus years, and I highly recommend it. And then Malcolm Gladwell also wrote a book called Outliers. And so I've been using the term the law of the few. So the law of the few breaks down to the 80-20 principle, where if you have an organization, 20% of the population or 20% of your results come from 80% and 80% comes from 20%. And when you're able to really be that person of influence and affluence, and you're able to look right down into the heart of darkness and be the person of courage that can really access your power, then you're elevating your consciousness. You're the law of the few. Now, everyone has this within them, but not everyone accesses it. I mean, it's not a secret. I mean, everyone can be that leader. Everyone can be a mentor. Everyone can master sales and marketing skills. Everyone can own a business, but not many people succeed because of conditioned behaviors, trauma-based mind control, mainstream media, the intoxication that we become intoxicated with the food we eat, the content we watch, the devices we hold in our hand, all the situations that you see going on in the world today. I mean, it's so easy to get overwhelmed that you can get overwhelmed being overwhelmed. And this is why it's reserved for the law of the few. And if you're one of those few people that has that courage, then you're going to stand out. You're going to be the person that people are going to follow down the street to clean up the debris that's there. You're going to be the person who can put your hand down to someone and pull them up out of the mud. You're going to be that person that can say, I can teach you these skills. And our country is going to require more and more people that live in the law of the few right now, right here today, because of what is going on in the world. So there's the world out there, then there's your world, and you definitely want to be the law of the few. One of the few people that can stand the gaffe, that has the courage, that has the humility. And this doesn't happen overnight. This is a long-term practice skill called letting go. And as you're letting go, you're the exception because you're separating your feelings from the events that shape them. And you're really standing up to what's going on in the world. You're that person who can stand up to the tyranny, who can stand up to what's going on overall. And I really commend you for being that leader grower who can be that person, that law of the few, who can be that person who can day after day practice that discipline. A major component of being the law of the few is not talent, it's the discipline you have. And the disciple of means that you're able to day after day withstand the challenge that the world has for you, then the challenges your ego has for you, and then being able to breathe deeply and let go of how overwhelmed you are and how at times you feel so doubtful. And there are days you just don't have it. That doesn't mean you're not good enough. It means there's a day you don't have it. But even that day you don't have it, you can go to bed, pick yourself back up, and be that law of the few the next day. And when you're the law of the few, it's not glamorous, it's not perfect, but it's a mastered skill set of emotions that you begin to develop one day at a time over a long lifetime and a long career. And life can get easier for you because you're going to spend less time in anxiety, fear, and doubt. And when you're stepping into that power and really mastering those emotions, it is just absolutely amazing who you can attract and what you can create. It is definitely a deep skill to be that law of the few. I mean, in the few, it really breaks down to who succeeds and who fails. Well, it's not the most talented people. It's not the people who have the biggest degrees or the most degrees, although sometimes, who succeeds and who fails? It's not the person who works the hardest. It's the people who master the skills in certain different modalities and then start to feel good enough about themselves and their own humility. So success is a really deep individual process, and it's not always the shiny objects and the trinkets and what you own. It comes down to the person you become. Are you that person who can handle adversity and not lose your composure? Can you listen to someone else criticize you without criticizing them? Can you let go on command by breathing, releasing, and letting go, and picking yourself up and just moving over here and not having to be right? And if you're that person, I commend you. And if you're that person, I'm looking for you. I'm looking for the people who want to be that law of the few. And I'm here to mentor, teach, coach any of you who want to be that law of the few. And the law of the few are the few who stay sober. It's not you become a millionaire, but not many people are able to be and stay sober in multiple 12-step programs because they buy into the cheat day system. And when you're the law of the few, you don't live in this rigid world, but you're so relaxed in being the law of the few that you can stand up to tyranny, you can stand up your ego, and you can let go on command. And by letting go on command, you're able to breathe, release, and let go. It's a mastery of your own emotions. That's what the few is. And I'm 67, almost 68, and I'm still learning the mastery of the emotions, letting go on command. If you're on today's Facebook Live and you would like to speak to me about one-on-one coaching, if you're a former client and you would like to speak to me, or you're watching my content for the first time, I would be honored to speak to you. You can send me a Facebook message, or you can find me on Instagram or any multitude of situations. But I highly recommend that you tap into David Hawkins' content, Letting Go, or any other content that digs deep into the subconscious, unconscious, and lets go on command of why we do what we do. So have a great afternoon. This is Jeffery Combs, breathing, releasing, and letting go. There's a lot going on in the world. I'm going to let you go back to your production because I'm going to do the same. I'll be back here tonight for short Facebook Live at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You have a great evening.